$15 pomegranate juice. So I think I just got royally ripped off, but you know, tourist prices. Fresh juice by Metekhi, yeah. It's not great, but I'm only here once and I get to have my pomegranate juice. Hey folks, Brian Singh here for Brian's Table, and I am in Tbilisi, Georgia. Today it is April the 21st, and I've been now away from Calgary now for over 2 months, and I'm starting to wind my way back. But I decided to stop in Georgia because there was a non-stop flight from Delhi, and I was also able to pick up my points and book flights from Georgia onwards all the way back home. So why not take an opportunity to fit another country in? And I'll explain why I'm here. But my goal today is to just do one of my standard little walking tours of cities, show you some of the sights. My goal is to try and use public transit and walk as much as I can, and just to discover what makes Tbilisi tick. All right, let's get on our way, and onward we go. Staying at the Meta Business Hotel, and like, how could you not want to stay at a place called that? And a couple things I want to show you before I start taking off and filling in a few of the rationales of why I chose here. They have this Bogpay, Georgia. Let's go to the English language services, and this is kind of neat. You can do your transportation card top up there. You could do payments between accounts. You could do all sorts of things with your credit card. There you go, Tbilisi Energy. Yeah, it's amazing what you're able to do here in terms of your bills, and pretty cool. I think it's a very efficient way of government to try to bring services to the people in a very interesting and efficient manner via electronic kiosk. And these are all over the city. Very cool. Most people know this hotel as the King David Residences, and it is amongst a complex here, which is close to the university. So, why Georgia? Not to say I am obsessed about counting countries, but yes, I do want to go and visit as many countries as I can while I'm still alive, and I'm happy to do some of the harder ones while I still have the strength. And I do try to stay fit as possible. As I joke, stay at fighting weight to take on the challenges of travel. But I've always had a little fascination with this place. I do talk about this project from time to time because it was a really quite interesting project I was on, and the consequences of it still linger on. And I worked on a water basin initiative between Ukraine, Belarus, solid Belarus, and the western corner of Russia by Smolensk and Moscow. And surprisingly, it was a fairly high-level initiative where a number of the international organizations were part of it, but I got to meet a lot of local bureaucrats, and they all, when we sat down, and invariably there was always liquor around, they would wax eloquently about Georgian wines and how they are the greatest wines of all in all of the now former Soviet Union. And as I got my wine education, every once in a while I did encounter a Georgian wine, and they always surprised me. So in the back of my mind, I wanted to check this out, but also it is an interesting geographic location because you're north of Armenia, but also just west of Azerbaijan. So, and also you got Turkey to the south as well, and Russia to the north. And it is squarely in the Caucasus, and I just wanted to go and check this thing out because in terms of as a cradle of world history here, Georgia is quite interesting. And with the air links opening up, and I will admit that seeing a non-stop flight from Tbilisi to Tbilisi from Delhi, I got to cash in on that. So that was my first goal here, to actually, first of all, go and check out the wine industry, and I will be doing some content on that. But also, I had a guy I used to date, not really was relationship material, but he was interesting enough. But he mentioned how he, back in the day, came to Georgia and came to Tbilisi, and it was an interesting and fascinating place. And he also talked a lot about the religion here. He was a bit of a religious studies scholar. It's kind of funny how many guys into religious studies are also gay, but that's beside the fact. So another seed on that got planted in my head. But the first thing I'm going to do today is I'm going to go and take the subway, which is near the railway station here. So I'm actually walking away from the city center, which is back that way. But I want to take the metro because I got a metro card right here. I got one for a week, and it got activated. So I'm going to be quite excited to use that, even though I'm here for only for a few more days. I also have with me a little trusty map that my friend Edgar gave me, which I keep in my back pocket, which has all the various attractions and key sites here. So I'm going to see where that takes me. Another thing that's quite fascinating about the city is, like many cities, there's a river that dissects or runs through the city, and it is a defining feature here in Tbilisi. So let's head on towards the metro station and see what that looks like. And I'm quite excited because anywhere I go, I do like to go and check out what the public transit is like. A few initial thoughts on Tbilisi. It does have a feel of a former Soviet city. I've been to a number of cities in Ukraine, Moscow, Smolensk, Mosul in Belarus, and the way the space is organized is very familiar in that way, but it has a unique, sort of more Turkish element to it in terms of how certain aspects of the restaurants are laid out, and so it has that mix of the Central Asian republics meets Europe. That's how to think about it. But I also have come to greatly appreciate this after being in India. My word, it is great to see cars following the white lines. Drivers here are really very considerate, and they really don't feel a need to rush from point A to point B. I think that may also have to deal with some of the traffic laws here, and I'm going to guess that enforcement and fines are quite heavy for non-compliance. And it's also refreshing to see crosswalks and traffic lights which are respected, especially after being in India for 2 months. He was actually slowing down for me. Over in the distance there, Carrefour. So the French chain is making inroads here into Georgia. When I was looking up all the ways to navigate the city, the bus system was often mentioned. And I gotta say, just watching how people use the bus system here, it's always packed, and it really does seem to work quite well. I hope to do a bit of that myself. Street side shawarma, getting another sign of that influence of the Middle East here, and Korean house. You see a lot of Korean style, you see a lot of references to Korea here, especially I was by a cosmetic counter yesterday, and they stipulated that they had Korean style cosmetics. But also, Korean food does seem to be quite popular here. No big surprise, because pickling is a big part of Georgian cuisine. And those familiar with Korean food, if you look at banchan or nambul, all the various pickled and fermented condiments that you get to go with your meal, I can see why Georgians or Tbilisi residents have oriented towards Korean food. So banking, again, is always a bit of an issue when you're a traveler. If you do have a standard bank card, most banks do honor that. So it's pretty easy to take out money. I think that you're able to take to your limit. I have not encountered any problems as yet. I'm walking towards the train station. There's a lot of hostels in this area. We'll add that given that it's in a river valley, trees are everywhere, so Georgia does feel like a very green city, which is quite refreshing. Guys, that I'm near the Central Market, so before I hop on board the metro to go into the city center, let's go and check out the Central Market and see what that has in store for us. The area is called Dezerter Bazaar. Let's go and see my map as to where it is. So that's how close it was. So, hence my decision. A lot of old Soviet bloc style architecture here. Sort of a general market where a lot of independent business people, or independent retailers, supply day-to-day items to most people. If you want to get anything related to your cell phone, there's a good place. But for just general clothes and household items, this place definitely fits the bill. Dried fruits and spices. Got a liquor store over there having some Georgian wine. Cinnamon. Music store. This seems to be the men's clothing area. So you even get shoes over here. And banking is readily available everywhere you go. I'm gonna go and check out the other side over here, see if there's any difference. But men's shoes and clothing, that's this area of the market. Former Soviet bloc countries, oh, they love the tracksuit. Boy, do they ever. One thing I can see from my hotel room, and it's right over there, it's the National Stadium. So that's where the biggest soccer team plays, and also that they host the international matches when Georgia is playing football or soccer as part of the European Cup. Let's go and check out the open air market. Fresh potatoes, everything locally grown here. Fresh cheese here, and also eggs. This area stretches for quite a bit. Georgians are really friendly. They, as much as I've got the camera on, they generally treat me quite nicely about that. I'm not too sure about the attractions as yet, but we'd see how that works. We have a coffee roaster over here where people are getting their coffee ground. More of that fresh cheese, and Nona selling some oranges and bananas. And the bananas are coming from Ecuador. Soap and household items. More of that fresh cheese. But they also have some aged cheese here. Looks like some smoked cheese here. There seems to be a little cheese zone here. It smells wonderful, by the way. Very fresh cheese, cream and milk smell. Everywhere you go, you see exchange rates. And the herbs, dried fruit. We have some bread. That looks like tarragon there. That looks like some sort of root. Not sure what that is. And local strawberries. They look absolutely delicious. One thing that's you see everywhere you go on this planet, Bob Marley is popular in every country. And they always have some homage to him somewhere else. Him and Che Guevara, by the way. Those tomatoes are super red, just like the strawberries. Those interesting cucumbers. I've never seen that color.
Hello.
Gentleman offered me a strawberry. Brian. Ukri has very kindly gave me a strawberry. I'm going to taste it to let you know what a Georgian strawberry tastes like.
Good?
It is so good. Oh my God. You don't, oh my God. It is explosive.
Press.
What's that?
Press.
No. YouTube.
YouTube?
Yeah. Just push for me. I share my travels. If you have a chance to have a Georgian strawberry, have one. They are beautiful and delicious. I'm gonna admit that started off a little weird, but oh my God, he was so nice. He really was. You know, again, I know when I have a video camera in my hand, it creates a lot of strange interactions with people. Again, this is a former Soviet bloc country, and you know, it takes a while for people to get used to their freedoms, and like anywhere where there was an oppressive regime, in my experience, people are very security conscious in terms of what you're doing with video. So I try to respect that as much as possible. I try not to capture people's faces, and I do try to give a filter on what I'm seeing, as opposed to just turning the camera around and showing you just indiscriminately what is going on around me. It's always a balancing act. But this is now getting back towards the far side of the market. Little kiosk here. You can even get bedding. Wow. They have a bakery over there. One of the things I've realized is that the Georgians take a lot of pride in their bread. And the varieties are endless. Check this out. You get roast chicken and rotisserie chicken. It looks delicious. It smells delicious, actually. They have a whole host of very tasty looking sandwiches here and a host of pastries. These cheese pies. Okay, so that was what would qualify as the central market area, leaving it behind me. And I am walking my way onto the metro. which is that way. There you can see the central train station, and that has trains that go all over Georgia from there. Pretty cool architecture, actually. Off in the distance there's an ad for something called Terra Nova. Little small world story. I have a bunch of Italian friends, and they're planning a trip to Newfoundland, and they always refer to it as Terra Nova, and that just means new land. So it's kind of cute. So anyhow, this is the entrance here to the metro. I'm going to guess that the rules are going to be a bit different, so I am going to turn off my recording shortly as I get on the subway. As you can see, 24-hour surveillance, and there's a lot of restrictions as to what you can do on the subway. Ticket office over there, and over here it's the entrance. I get my card out. There we go. See if this works. That worked pretty well. And down we go. That's a deep subway. So I took the subway to Alvabari because I want to go and check out the fortress up on the hill. And there's also a statue of Mother Georgia. This is one deep metro. Actually, the metro stations that are closest to the city center, they're the deepest. I will say that the metro does feel a little dated, but it's quite well maintained. Not a lot of air conditioning though, but that's traditional with older metro systems. Some of the metro did start in the 1960s and has evolved since. Overall, there's about 26 kilometers of metro track here, and it does serve the most populous areas of Tbilisi quite nicely. It's just a one-tap system, whereas other metro systems have the dual tap system. So that's handy to know. Let me get my bearings here, and onward to the cable car. So while I'm headed over there, I saw this over here, so I'm going to go and check that out first. Such is the fun part of just when you are on a standard walkabout. It's just good to discover the sights and just give yourself the time to do it at a fairly casual pace. Got to figure out what the entrance is for that particular monastery. There's some cool architecture over here. We're going to check that out after. So this is the Metekhi church. One of the reasons why I wore long pants today is because I noticed that the churches, they didn't like short pants. So even though it's a warm day, and this time of year is really comfortable. My allergies haven't been too happy and the air quality a little dodgy, but it's comfortable enough to wear long pants. You just need to adjust your mindset around it. Georgia is chock full of these older monasteries, and given this part of the Caucasus was where some of the earliest parts of Christianity were established, and all throughout eastern Turkey and through this region, you'll find a lot of these old monasteries. There's a dress code here. See, no shorts. Off goes the hat. And for women, they need to put on a shawl.
Come, O God.
was fascinating and well worth the little step into a time capsule of religious history here. Just on the back side here of the Metekhi. That's what I want to go and check out up there at the fort. I'll eventually get there. As I mentioned, the river does run through the heart of Tbilisi, and you can take a boat on it, but it's called the Kura River. It has a Georgian name, and which does make a few things quite confusing here in Tbilisi. Like, for instance, Liberty Square on the metro map has a different name, and you look at another map, also has a different name. So some of these things you have to be very careful, and you have to triangulate a few sources to make sure that you are going to the right place. Pure.
Only pomegranate.
Only pomegranate. Yes, I found pomegranate juice here, and it is not cheap though. I think I'm paying tourist prices. $15 pomegranate juice. So I think I just got royally ripped off, but you know, tourist prices. Fresh juice by Metekhi. Yeah, it's not great, but I'm only here once, and I get to have my pomegranate juice. And it is delicious. I just want to say something about that. I really hate being ripped off. I do. One thing that I know, and one thing that really gets my goat is being ripped off by cab drivers. And in Tbilisi, there are no metered taxis. Everything is in negotiation again. And you know what? Shit like that gets really tiring. And just getting ripped off and paying the tourist tax all the time, yeah, it just weigh you down. You know, you just have to shrug and, you know, take it. And the reality of it is, in the country I'm from, and in terms of the things I value, I would never do that to people. But, you know, people see a tourist and they see us like a big ATM. And yes, I get it, you know, we have a lot more money than they do. Well, at the same point, you want to know that you're actually getting a fair experience, you know, at a fair price, at a fair rate, and to be motivating to say, you know, I felt good about that. But I tell you, I didn't feel good about having that pomegranate juice. I didn't.